Despicable Me 4, the new movie in a series that started over 14 freaking years ago. Now, as we know, these movies have been a big hit because they got just like a great mix of funny moments and heartwarming scenes and just like a bunch of characters that we've all grown to love. So when they announced Despicable Me 4, bro, I was actually really excited, but honestly, it just didn't quite hit the mark for me on this one. Even though the franchise has been super successful, I mean, the first one made more money than Jurassic Park, but this new one, it just didn't live up to the hype.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
Okay, look, one of the biggest problems with this movie is that it just lacks a coherent main plot. Instead of having a strong central story to follow, it feels like the movie's just a bunch of different subplots thrown together. It's like they couldn't decide on one main story, so they just included a bit of everything. We've got Gru and his family going into witness protection, but then there's this new villain, Maxime Lamal, and he's out for revenge after Gru embarrassed him at a villain school reunion. Plus, there's a side story about Gru's teenage neighbor Poppy, who dreams of being a supervillain and blackmails Gru into helping her with a heist. And then, you know, obviously we have the minions getting superpowers. But I don't know, it's like they all just feel kind of random and disconnected until the very end. So while I was watching it, like, it was kind of hard to just stay engaged with the story. It's like watching a bunch of short films that were awkwardly just stitched together to make a feature-length movie. Dude, I don't know, I felt like I was watching TikTok. Like literally, like not literally, but literally. And because the movie is so sacred, again, first one made more money than Jurassic Park, there's not much meaningful character development for Gru and his family. We don't see much growth or change in them compared to previous films. Obviously, like he has a child, but their actual characters, nothing has changed.
I'm okay.
One of the main disappointments is how empty the new characters are, like Gru Jr. and Poppy Prescott. Although I'm not gonna lie, that one scene with Poppy and her cat on the disco, dude, maybe that was probably the best scene in the movie. Maybe. But Gru Jr. is this new addition to Gru's family. But we don't really get to see much of his personality besides like the obvious, you know, it shows it in the trailer. I don't know. Now that I'm saying it out loud, he is like a baby. So it's like, what am I expecting from an animated baby? I don't know. But then again, Jack is like sick. Then there's obviously Poppy, the teenage neighbor who wants to be a supervillain. She has this whole subplot where she blackmails Gru into helping her with a heist, but even like this doesn't go anywhere meaningful. Again, up until the very end, like the end is like the stitching point in that film that I was talking about earlier. It feels like there was so much more potential with her that just kind of got glossed over. And speaking of missed opportunities, I mean, the existing characters like Lucy and Gru's kids, they kind of just get minimal focus in the film. Lucy, who had a pretty significant role in previous movies, is mostly just in the sidelines. She has a few moments, like her cover story as a hairdresser, like that was a good scene. So like basically she has a whole cover story because again, they're in like witness protection or whatever, but she has this cover story where she's a hairdresser and it just leads to this funny chase scene. But other than that, she really doesn't get much to do.
I will catch you, and I will never let you go again. I'm joking.
Gru's kids, who we've seen grow and develop in earlier movies, are kind of just like there without any real growth. And I know, I get it, they just want to continue more stories and just make more money out of the characters. But okay, Margot, for example, she has this like brief scene where she struggles to make friends in school, which could have been a touching sub point, but same thing, it's just like doesn't get explored until the very end. When it comes to humor, Despicable Me 4 heavily relies on slapstick jokes. Now, don't get me wrong, slapstick can be funny, especially with a younger audience, and it's kind of a staple now for Minions and Gru's antics. But in this movie, it just feels like they went a bit overboard with it. Like in earlier films, and I know like I'm just comparing, but there was this nice balance between slapstick humor and really clever jokes.
I was saying,
Goodbye.
The first two movies especially just had this charm where the humor was like silly yet smart. But now in the fourth one, it seems like they've leaned a little bit too much into obvious gags. They're kind of subsurface level and predictable, which can get kind of tiring pretty fast. But like I said earlier, there were funny, like I'm not saying the movie itself wasn't funny. There were funny scenes in the movie. But as a whole, I just like, man, it didn't live up to the hype. Again, the hairdresser scene, 10 out of 10. The pit crew diaper change for Gru Jr., the vending machine.
Look up.
Okay, let's talk about the minions themselves. Now, before I say anything, I'm simply saying how they use them in the story is the problem. Because in this movie, it feels like they were heavily over-relied for comedic relief. And again, I'm not saying the minions aren't funny in this film, but it seems like their antics are just used to fill in the gaps where the main plot falls short. Does that make sense? Like, am I crazy? It's almost like the filmmakers were relying on the minions' popularity to carry the whole thing, instead of developing this cohesive story that includes them naturally. Alright, voice acting and performances in the movie. One of the consistent strengths of this series has been because of the talented voice cast. And this one, bro, 10 out of 10. Steve Carell, as always, I mean, I think he was born to play Gru.
One time I stood behind you in the Starbucks.
Is that right?
Yes, you ordered the latte.
His accent, comedic timing, just, it really does bring Gru to life. And he's great at delivering both the funny and the tender moments.
Why can't you be more like your sister Edith? She lies all the time.
Lucy, played by Kristen Wiig, and again, while she doesn't get much to do in the film, she still brings her character's quirky charm to the table. That's my wife.
Stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
Now, Will freaking Ferrell joins the cast as the new villain, Maxime Lamau. Now, having Will Ferrell, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a pretty good choice. I feel like he's becoming like the person you go to when you want a villain in a kid's movie. There were some good performances. I mean, you have Will Ferrell and Steve Carell in one movie, but they are often kind of let down by the weak script. I mean, the situation that these characters are like getting, not characters, but the actors are getting put in, dude, they're talented. Like, these guys are professional. Only sometimes does it not match the talent of the actors, but I really didn't mind that. Joey King voices Poppy and she does a good job, but again, her character arc is just still undeveloped. I kind of feel like she's gonna pop off because they can kind of just start a whole series with Poppy. I don't know, imagine Poppy and the cat. Okay, yeah, I would watch that 100%. As for miscasting or underwhelming roles, honestly, I have nothing to say about miscastings. Like, everybody was like on point. And I know I'm sounding hypocritical because I know I was just like trashing the movie, but it's not so much about miscastings as it's more about the lack of material for these actors to work with. Like, Sofia Vergara voices Valentina, Maxime's girlfriend, but her role is pretty much one-dimensional. She has great comedic chops, but the script just doesn't give her much to work with. So the performance just feels a bit flat, but it's just not her fault.
Thanks, Ron.
Alright, so that's my take on Despicable Me 4. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you watch the movie? Did you not? If you didn't, what are you doing watching this video? Also, SpongeBob's birthday is coming up this Sunday, July 14th. I'm gonna be posting a video called The SpongeBob Age Theory. And guys, I sincerely think I'm the only human being that knows SpongeBob's real age. Like, his age in the show. I don't know if that makes sense, but like in the time of it being on. A lot of people are gonna say he's like 35, he was 12, he was this. Nah, bro, no, I figured it out. So subscribe if you're new. Videos coming out this Sunday, July 14th. Smash subscribe, smash like.
I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence.